I'm gonna skip the second introduction because he's basically discussing the meaning of design and all that stuff, which I think is gonna basically be discussed throughout a lot of this book. But he basically says in the second introduction that we're gonna use phenomenology to do this, which then he discusses phenomena and logos, which if you wanna look into that, I'm sure there's some other videos, but because I just really don't feel like I want to go into that. I want to move on. The first chapter is called the exposition of the task of a preparatory analysis of design, and the ninth paragraph or ninth aphorism, kind of called the theme of the analytic of design. We ourselves. The entity we are ourselves the entities to be analyzed. The being of any such entity is in each case mine. So he talked about the entity of design is mine, and because we are it, we are design. These entities and their being comport themselves towards their being. As entities with such being, they are delivered over to their own being. Being is that which is an issue for every such entity. So then he talks about characterizing that design with double consequence. The essence or Wesen of this entity lies in its to be. Its being what it is must, so far as we can speak of it at all, must be conceived in terms of its being. But here our ontological task is to show that when we choose to designate the being of this entity as existence or existence, this term does not and cannot have the ontological signification of the traditional term existential. Ontologically, existentia is tantamount to being present at hand, a kind of being which essentially is inappropriate to entities of design's character. To avoid getting bewildered, we shall always use the interpretive expression present at hand for the term existentia, while the term existence as a designation for being, which will be allotted only to design. So then he sort of just talks about how, present at hand is the existentia. And then he talks about the essence of design lies in its existence. So the term existence is only for design. Accordingly, those characteristics which can be exhibited in this entity are not properties present at hand of some entity which looks so-and-so and is itself present at hand. They are in each case possible ways for it to be, and no more than that. All the being as it is, Dasein, which this entity possesses, is primarily being. So when we designate this entity with the term design, we are explaining not its what, but its being. And then the second part of the consequence. That being which is an issue for this entity in its very being is in each case mine. Thus design is never to be taken ontologically as an instance or special case for some genus of entities as things that are present at hand. To entities such as these, the being is as a matter of indifference, or more precisely, they are such that their being can be neither a matter of indifference to them nor the opposite, because Dasein it has in each case mineness. One must always use a personal pronoun when one addresses it. I am, you are. So he talks about this sort of mineness because we are it. Design is in each case mine because we are it. And then basically what he goes on, when he talks about, existence or existence, he's talking about a couple things. He's talking about, this is where he brings in the whole things about authentic existence and inauthentic existence. There are two ways for which beings can take up existence, their existence as their own authenticity, or in some sense not their own. For instance, a person who realizes they are choosing their life or style person who is simply fulfilling the pre-designed role in their society is failing a peer group. So this is where he brings in the thing of authenticity and inauthenticity. Authenticity is, now I'm thinking about Charles Taylor here as well as Corey Anton, but authenticity is the existence of design as their own, which, you know, can be thought of as, you know, fulfillment of what you want to do, which is basically is essentially not conforming to those around you. Now, inauthenticity would be, you know, doing something, you know, which is, you know, the pure thing that everyone else is doing, which in that case your existence is not your own. Now he says that both kind of people exist, and then he basically first of all, okay, I'm going to start here. In determining itself as an entity, design always does so in the light of a possibility, which it is itself, and which, in its very being, it somehow understands. This is the formal meaning of design's existential constitution. But this tells us that we are to interpret this entity ontologically. The problematic of its being must be developed in the existentiality of its existence. This cannot mean, however, that design is to be construed in terms of some concrete possible idea of existence. At the outset of our analysis, it is particularly important that design should not be interpreted with differentiated character of some definite way of existing, but that it should be uncovered in the undifferentiated character which has proximity for the most part. This undifferentiated character of design's everydayness is not nothing but a positive phenomenal characteristic of this entity. Out of this kind of being and back into it again, it is all existing and such as it is. We call this everyday undifferentiated character of design its averageness. This is another term. You know, we have everydayness. We have averageness. Let me see. Design's everydayness, however, is not to be taken as a mere aspect. Here too, even in the mode of inauthenticity, the structure of existentiality lies a priori, and here too, design's being is an issue for it in a definite way, and design comports itself towards it in the mode of everydayness, even if this is the only mode of fleeing in the face of it and forgetfulness thereof. So, we have the galactic level of average everydayness. The average everydayness is forms of the starting point of the interpretation of design. Now, what this basically is, this level of average everydayness, whether there's authenticity or authenticity, there's being in the world. This is a unitary structure which must be seen as a whole. Yet, if we bear this in mind, it's methodologically possible to divide it into different points, parts, and levels. So yeah, this is basically what this first chapter discusses. Now, remember the design is being there, or being in the world, which he said previously, this is ontologically, and this is ontologically prior, where the ontic existence of it is closest to us, while the ontological existence of its being is farthest away, and which is why he's saying that we need to get into this thing more. And then this he talks about that we're not talking about existentia, and now by that he's talking about he's not giving the term of other things the existence. Existence is only for design. And now he also says how design comports itself to its being, and design is essentially being in the world because of its everydayness. Now, what did he say? It was the undifferentiated character. Yeah. We call this everyday undifferentiated character of design averageness. And because this everydayness makes up what is ontologically proximal for this entity, it has again and again been passed over in explicating design. That which is ontologically closest and well known is ontologically the farthest and not known at all, and its ontological signification is constantly overlooked. So, in design's average everydayness, however, is not to be taken as a mere aspect. Here, too, and even in the mode of inauthenticity, the structure of its existentiality lies a priori. And here too, design's being is an issue for it in a definite way. And design comports itself towards it in the mode of average everydayness, even if this is only the mode of fleeing in the face of it and forgetfulness thereof. So, saying that again, we have this design has this undifferentiated character where we have this everydayness and we have average everydayness, which is how it sort of comports itself to what it is. And this is basically what the chapter 1 says, the exposition of the task of a preparatory analysis of design. And then he also talks about how the analytic of design is distinguished from fields like anthropology, psychology, and biology, but that's sort of a back issue, I think. And the second chapter is called "Being in the World in General as the Basic State of Design." So basically, in the first chapter, he gets through talking about authenticity and inauthenticity as this undifferentiated character. Which gives us average everydayness, which is how it comports itself to being because of its being in the world. That's basically what I just said. That was probably a butchered way of saying it, but yeah, that's what the first chapter has. And in the next video on the being of time, we'll talk about the second chapter, and then the third chapter after that is a great one. It's called I think that's the third chapter is world. Yeah, the second chapter is called "Being in the World in General as the Basic State of Design," and then the third one, if I can find it. Yeah, the third one is called "Worldhood of the World," which is really big, and it's a big part, I think, of phenomenology. So, thank you.